Today, Bowe Bergdahl is expected to admit he's a deserter, brought home with a hero's welcome by the Obama administration. Bergdahl is said to plead guilty to charges tied to his capture by the Taliban in 2009.
That's right. 5 terrorists were exchanged for his return, and 6 U.S. soldiers were killed searching for him in Afghanistan. Joining us now to react is Fox and Friends weekend co-anchor and Army veteran Pete Hegseth. Hey, Pete.
Hey, good morning.
So today, I guess the question is, and we don't know this at this point, did he strike a deal, or is he pleading guilty in hopes of leniency from the judge?
We don't know. It looks like he's pleading guilty either way. The question is whether it's a plea deal, whether he got some sort of a deal from prosecutors. Ultimately, though, it goes before a judge. The judge will make a call in what he faces. The lesser of the two is what he will face, whether it's life in prison for misbehavior before the enemy or the desertion charge for 5 years, and whether his time in captivity will be counted toward that as well. We don't know if he cut a deal. We will find out today. His trial was supposed to start a week from now. It'll likely become a sentencing instead because he's likely to plead guilty.
Yeah. This is a story that enrages a lot of members of the military and a lot of Americans in general, because you see, that image of the 5 terrorists that we had to give up to give them back. Yeah, and it's a very dangerous precedent. Misbehavior before the enemy is the big charge here. That carries the potential of life in prison. Tell us about that.
So it's different than treason. Initially there were thoughts of charging him with treason, intentionally going to join the enemy. Misbehavior before the enemy means you shamefully abandon, surrender, or deliver up command property or information that you have a duty to defend, which he clearly did, abandoning his post and walking off base. What the prosecutors knew they could do is they could likely get this charge to stick, which comes with life in prison. And anybody who's looked at this case understands what happened, the precedent that it sets. You don't want a Bowe Bergdahl ever walking free in light of what he's done. But if you try for treason and don't get it, then you have complications. So they went with misbehavior.
And look at the value that he puts on American soldiers being captured now is so much higher because they know what they can get for them.
There's a bounty.
That precedent. Yeah, there's a bounty.
It's 5 of the worst for a dirtbag. Yeah. That's what happened. The worst guy in your unit that stacks his gear up and walks off base, so people like Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz have to spend their time as special operators looking for him, distracted from the mission. And then we take 5 of the worst out of Guantanamo Bay, who other Americans had to capture at one point, put their lives at risk. It is a price that Bowe Bergdahl charged our entire country. The least he could do is serve behind bars for the rest of his life.
So that's what you would like to see. Could you ever, in any situation, make an argument against that, against life in prison? Because you've been over there.
No, I wouldn't. Most of us would look at that he should be put to death for it. Ultimately, this is a treasonous act. A lot of people thought he was searching for the Taliban. What happened once he was captured is a whole other story. There's evidence that needs to be, but there were much harsher sentences that have happened because when you raise your right hand to defend your country and you go into a dangerous place, you have to trust that those you're serving with will have your back. When you do something like that, you put all of that at risk. That's why a lot of people will be paying attention here, and a judge is unlikely to be lenient in this case.
Right. And the soldiers who died searching for him, tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, and that'll be part of the testimony in the sentencing as well. They say it won't happen today, but a week from now when the sentencing happens, if he pleads guilty, you're going to hear from members who were injured. Those that were killed can't speak for themselves, but those who were injured in searching will speak up and talk about, I was on this patrol because of Bowe Bergdahl. I was diverted to this mission because of Bowe Bergdahl. That's really powerful, and the voices and the faces of those who are no longer here, he'll be likely sitting in prison thinking of those faces for a long time.
For a long time. All right, Pete,
we'll see you on Fox and Friends later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.